What's up? What's up? What's up? You are in tune to the Know It All podcast, and you have your boys, your player partners with you, and we're about to get into it this weekend. Big Take, man, how's your week been, man?
What's good, Ma? It's been a good week, man. I can't complain.
Man, it's been a week full of movies and sports and a lot of good stuff out here, huh?
Whole bunch to talk about, man.
Yeah, man. Big G, how was your weekend, man? How you feeling? How you feeling?
Man, what's cracking, man? I'm feeling pretty good right now because it looks like for the first time in a few weeks, I'm going to win in both my fantasy football leagues. So that makes me feel real good.
I'm taking some tough ones right now. I'm taking some tough ones with all the injuries and everything. But man, hey, look, before we get into our meat and our subject today, man, we're definitely going to get into this. And we
Hey, Ma, before you get started, man, Big G brought it up, though. But Big G,
Yo,
who in first place in both your fantasy leagues?
man, come on, man. Come on,
No,
man.
just the question, man.
Man, I mean, why? That's a loaded question, man. We already know what the answer is, man.
I don't know what you know what the answer is.
Oh, you don't know what it is?
Ma, who in first place in your fantasy league?
come on, Tate, man. You know who it is.
Come
hey,
on, man.
let's just go on and give
All right.
credit to where credit is due.
Yeah, Tate, you do an
is in-
outstanding job, man. Let's
Tate
just say
is
that.
in first. That's why when we had our fantasy football show, he took the lead. That's why if you took his tidbits, hey, you're probably winning in your league right now. He's winning. Now it ain't over till the fat lady starts singing. You know what I'm saying? We got the playoffs and everything. So, but he has the best regular season record right now. I mean, he's killing us. It is what it is.
That's in your league, Big G, in both your leagues too. I just want to say. All right, let's go.
Unbelievable, you guys. Well, look, man, have y'all seen what's going on in professional football right now, man? Most of your top tier teams took a L today. Any given Sunday, man, it could happen, man. Tate, what do you think about this, man? You see the Jaguars won and beat the Bills. The Cowboys got skull drugged by Denver. You had another couple of top tier teams lose. How you feeling about that, man? Talk to me.
Man, I think it just speaks to the competitive balance of what is the NFL, man. The NFL. That's why it's the biggest sports thing in America, man. The biggest sports league in America, because every year everybody comes into it as a fan base with hopes and aspirations that this year could be the year for their team. It doesn't take a long time to turn around in the NFL. A good draft or two, a free agent or two, you get that quarterback, and you're ready to compete. So you got a team like Jacksonville, not a very good team, still young, still building. But they have a quarterback. They drafted Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall last year out of Clemson. Urban Meyer went from the college ranks to professional ranks. Losing, but a good coach, knows what he's doing. Putting a culture together, a program and a culture. That's what Jacksonville's lack. So, you get some good coaches, you get a good quarterback, and you can win immediately in the NFL. And any team can beat any other team on any given Sunday, like you said.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely agree. And what you think about this weekend, man, G, as far as, all of the top tier teams going down, taking L's?
Well, I mean, it was also, this is what you're going to get into when you start seeing bye weeks come about and injuries come about. Ma said something maybe even a couple of months back, and he said that the team that survives without the COVID issues, the long-term injuries, no disruptions in the locker room with the players, no Odell Beckham Jr. situations going on. Those teams who have that chemistry have the biggest chance to win and continue to win. And so I think sometimes what happens with those top tier teams, they sort of get lackadaisical and think like, well, yeah, we're going in this week. We're playing Jacksonville. We're going to pop them boys. We ain't got to show up and give us our best. Same difference even with the Cowboys. The Cowboys knew Von Miller got traded. Man, there's no way that these guys are going to beat us. However, I will say this. The NFL is professional players. They're not college football players. They're not high school football players. So professional players collect game checks at the end of every game. So they're coming to do one thing and one thing only. Do their job and get the W. So anybody can lose at any given time on any given Sunday.
Absolutely. And I mean, we saw evidence to that today, man. We saw evidence to that. And you speak of something that we have to talk about. As know-it-alls, we got to talk about this, man. Odell Beckham, is his best days behind him, or does he have another couple of great years as a receiver? I have a take on this, but I want to start with Tate. Tate, what do you think about Odell Beckham at this point, man? Do you feel like his best years are behind him, and do you think if he lands with the right team, he could do some damage here in this season?
Man, I think I liken it to the Randy Moss situation, 15 years ago when he was with Minnesota, left Minnesota, went to the Raiders, then left the Raiders and went to the Patriots. I mean, I think Odell has been in Cleveland, and really stylistically, it never was going to be a fit because Cleveland is a run-first team, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 2-3 tight end sets. They like to run the ball, pound the ball. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield's not really an accurate passer. Mm-hmm. I think Odell kind of lost some of his just his energy, his want to go out there and play hard every week because he wasn't getting the ball. He was on, you look at his first 3-4 years with the New York Giants, he was on record, breaking setting pace for a career, up there with some of the all-time greats. You put his first 4 years up there with any other wide receiver's first 4 years. I think if Odell goes to a team that's competing for the playoffs and a winning situation with a good quarterback, I think we'll see some of the old Odell. I don't think it's gone. He's only 28 years old, man. I still think he got a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and G, talk to us about it, man. What do you think? Before I give my take, I want to hear yours too, G.
I think Odell Beckham is Tate was right on when he was talking about the Randy Moss scenario as far as an unbelievable super real talent that has the ability to cause problems as far as NFL defense is concerned. I just really believe that Odell was never going to work in Cleveland. Because he's too big of a personality. Odell is going to the sideline telling Baker what to do. He's more or less, for y'all that don't know the inside about it, Odell is punking Baker Mayfield on the sideline. He's throwing his helmet. He's kicking over nets. He's over there yelling and screaming at him. And then it just got to the point where he would just freeze him out. If you ever caught a sideline shot of the Browns, Odell would be way on the other end and Baker's sitting down on the other end, and they never sat next to each other, never talked out any information, never tried to get on the same page like you see quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers talks with his wide receivers, or you see Patrick Mahomes talking to Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. That never happened in Cleveland. So I believe that if Beckham gets an opportunity to go to a contender where he doesn't have to be the alpha and he can come into a team, Odell's going to shine.
Hey, Big G, just to comment on what you said, I'm putting money. Baker put hands on Odell if they got into it, though.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Listen, I mean, I ain't gonna say what I really want to say about Odell. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I will say this. Here's what I'll say: the man can still play football.
Oh yeah,
and I believe that Big G mentioned something. Well, first and foremost, to Tate's point, yeah, it's run first, pass second, and I believe that Baker started hearing the tom-toms. See, the press is very, very strong in the NFL. They can sway you and get in your head and mess you all the way up. And I think he started hearing the tom-toms of he's trying to force the ball to Odell Beckham, and he threw all them interceptions. Y'all remember that? Trying to throw the ball to Odell Beckham. And I think he built up in his mind this thing where I'm not throwing the ball to Odell Beckham anymore. or when he does, he would overthrow him. So I think there was this anxiety there, and it was never comfortable between them, and they never had any symmetry. To Big G's point, Odell has to be in a place where he's not the alpha. The alpha male needs to be the quarterback, the person who can go ahead and take care of business and tell Odell, hey, man, I'm going to get you the ball when I get you the ball. You get open, I'm going to get you the ball. And then hit him with the ball. You know, that's why I think 2 places that would be great for him, 3 places after, but Buffalo would be great. Buffalo would be a great place for Odell Beckham. I think Green Bay would be a great place for Odell Beckham. We're going to talk about their alphas shenanigans here in just a second. And I think that Kansas City would be a great place for Odell Beckham. And I think, you know, these are 3 places that I think could make some room. Everybody says New Orleans, and I could see him going back home, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not sold on Taysom Hill or the other guy quarterback. I mean, they may have won today, but yeah, I'm not.
No, they lost. They lost. Atlanta popped them. Yeah.
No, they lost. I know they
last second field goal. Trevor Siemian, who you talking about though?
Trevor Siemian, yeah. It just is not. It's not. I'm set on it. And speaking of alphas, in Green Bay, we had some incidences. we had a run in. Aaron Rodgers, man. He said that he is immune, or he has immunity to COVID, and then ended up with COVID. What do you guys say? I mean, Tate, you said off camera that you don't believe that it was a lie. You just believe that he was trying to push his sauce and his brand through so the NFL would accept it. But I mean, don't you feel like at some point it was a white lie? You know, it was like it was a little bit of a lie.
Well, no, I think he lied to us, the public and the media. He didn't lie to the NFL though, because the NFL got to know if he's vaccinated or not. He wasn't vaccinated. They knew he wasn't vaccinated, and he tried to say that he had some doctors cook up a concoction of some Kool-Aid and some ginger ale and a Robitussin mixed together, and he was immune from that. You know that wasn't immunization.
No,
but but I mean, Aaron Rodgers one of them jokers, man. Like we said, like we said, pre-production, like Kyrie, just think he's smarter than everybody, man. Think he's the smartest dude in the room. So he sat there, he answered that question real slick, like they said, "You been vaccinated?" He said, "I've been immunized." Trying to play it off like that and roll with it. And he was real hot when it was leaked that he wasn't vaccinated, because then it made him look like a liar. And he lost a few endorsements because of it too, with the healthcare company and stuff in Wisconsin.
Did.
So he just a smart dude trying to be slick.
Yeah, and at this point, he's actually being investigated by the league. Something I heard before I came in here, and that it may be some ramifications for him as it comes back. On the fact that it was a little bit of a lie. And honestly, here's my thing. We got into this when we talked about Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie's a flat earther. He believes a lot of other things that other people don't. That's his prerogative. You know what I mean? And he's an entertainer as well as a sports person. I mean, if this is the game you love and you want to play it, that's the rules. Either you abide by them or you don't. Not forcing you to do anything. But here's my statement on Aaron Rodgers, man. I just believe that on some level, Aaron Rodgers' accountability partners and factors, just like the guy, my guy, Lyle Collins. The people around you didn't advise you right, man. They didn't tell you to do the right thing, man. This was gonna blow up in your face. It was one of them things that was bound to blow up in your face. I don't see how it wouldn't have. You know what I'm saying?
But I think Aaron Rodgers advises his advisors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't see Aaron Rodgers listening to nobody, man. You know what I mean?
Probably right about that.
As a matter of fact, As a matter of fact, I'd like to just have a quiz show with me, Big G, and Mod on teams against Aaron Rodgers, Kyrie, and Kanye West. Let's see who know the most, because them jumpers think they know it all too, man.
They all think they know. And speaking of Kanye, and did you see his interview this weekend?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh, his interview with Nori.
Kyrie Irving, Kanye West, and Aaron Rodgers need to go somewhere and start their own country. They need to go get an island somewhere and start their own country, because I'm telling you,
Kanye West
is ridiculous.
Kanye West sent a group text with his wife, his ex-wife included in the group text, and say, none of y'all can tell me nothing. I'm richer than all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z was in that text. His wife was in that text.
It might be true though.
It was true. But why do you say? I mean, Forbes reported it, so it's got to be the truth. I mean, Forbes said.
Hey, but hold it. Money might equal power, but money does not equal intelligence. There's a lot of smart people that are broke. So this dude is not like the most super thinking, you can't tell me nothing, I don't know anything. And that goes across the board.
I think they all intelligent, man. They all are very intelligent people. They just all think they too intelligent.
Too intelligent. That's why you cut your. He talking about his Britney Spears. His haircut was inspired by Britney Spears. Come on, Kanye, man. Come on. Stevie Wonder gave you that haircut.
Hey, before we get off of Aaron Rodgers, man, listen. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. That culture in Green Bay, Wisconsin, breeds Aaron Rodgers too. It's a little small. When I'm telling you guys, it's a little small town out in the middle of nowhere. And there's houses that literally wrap around the field. I've been there, seen it, been there before, know what Lambeau's like, know what Green Bay, Wisconsin's like. I used to work for Procter & Gamble in my past, so I know we have an actual plant and a factory in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that culture breeds some of Aaron Rodgers' thought process, So I can't put it all off on him. It is all off on him. But when you live in a little small rural area and somebody will tell you the color's purple, and by the time you get done, it's red and blue mixed together. Come on, man. Which is purple, but you done broke it down, a little bit more than what it actually is. You know
what, Big G? I never been to Green Bay, Wisconsin, so I can't speak to that. But I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of who he is, man. He's a California kid, man. He's surfer, carefree, kind of like just laid back all the time. That's who he is.
So is he a younger Bill Walton? Is he younger Bill Walton? Bill Walton fit in that category too.
Yeah, that could fit.
Yeah,
that's accurate. I think that's accurate. So we go from any given Sunday, and anybody can lose at any given point. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Now let's talk about this college football playoff, man. Let's talk about this college football playoff. At this point, after seeing all of the teams play, Cincinnati barely got by yesterday. Oh, my God, Tate. How were you feeling when you were watching this game?
Well, I didn't look at the whole game. I mean, it was on the same time as Ohio State, so I was just, kind of giving it that commercial change to attention. You know what I mean? But, I mean, Cincinnati, they played Tulsa, right? Yeah, they played Tulsa. Yeah. Tulsa played Ohio State tough for 3 quarters. I mean, Tulsa's not a bad football team, man. I mean, I think Cincinnati is doing what they got to do. They had teams in front of them lose yesterday. They had Michigan State lose, and they had one more loss? No, that's only lost in the top 6, right? Michigan State.
Yeah, correct.
So they won. Next week, Oklahoma gonna get popped by Baylor. That'll be another loss, but. So I think Cincinnati, all they can do is just win their games in front of them. They don't care if they close or not. All they got to do is win. And like I keep saying, y'all act like this is January. This is 2021. And in January, Cincinnati played Georgia to a 3-point loss, and Cincinnati should have won the game against Georgia in the Peach Bowl. So we had like Cincinnati, they not in the Power 5, but they win against the teams on their schedule. Still got to play SMU. And you go back just to January with the same team Cincinnati got now against Bakley, the same team Georgia has now, minus a couple people, but they filled in with more professionals. Cincinnati's a good team, and they deserve their opportunity if they win out.
But do you think that they're going to get enough credence by the voters to get in? That's the big thing.
No, I think they will, man, because I think Alabama's going to lose still, and Michigan State already lost, and I think Oklahoma's going to lose. I can't remember who's Michigan. Oh, and Oregon going to lose too. If Washington had a quarterback, they would have lost yesterday too. Oregon would have.
Yeah,
I think come tomorrow, I think come Tuesday, you're going to see Michigan jump Cincinnati in the poll. I think when they do the college football rankings, Michigan's going to go to 5. I think the top 5 is going to be Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Oregon 3, Ohio State 4, Michigan 5, Cincinnati 6. They're going to keep giving.
You said Ohio State where?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, Ohio State 4, Oregon 3.
But even at that, Big G, Ohio State, Michigan got to play. So Cincinnati got to do is win their games. That what needs to be taken care of in front of them is going to take care of itself.
Right. But this is the issue about with Cincinnati, and this is why I don't think that they're going to give them an opportunity. The issue is going to be that if somebody in the Big Ten is going to do what they need to do. I don't know if it's going to be Ohio State. I don't know if it's going to be Michigan winning out. I don't know. Somebody's going to take care of business. If Oregon wins out and the Big Ten guy wins out, if Oregon wins out and the Big Ten team does what they got to do and they're a one-losser, Oklahoma wins out, even Oklahoma maybe with one loss. When you start comparing apples to apples, they're not going to give them that credence. And, oh, God, don't let Alabama pop Georgia. That really is going to send everything in a tailspin. So I don't think Cincinnati needs a lot of Lego blocks to fall in order to get into that championship, which they can make it. And you're absolutely right. They got to keep doing what they can only control what they can control. They can only win what they can win, but they need a lot of help to get in there.
Well, the thing that scares me about Cincinnati is still that SMU game. It's a trap game. I've been saying it since the beginning of the year. It's a trap game. That game right there, they can mark it on their calendars. That's a trap game. Even though SMU lost to Houston, which hey, you can build a national championship team right out of Houston. I still say that SMU that's a trap game. If they look past that, they don't come to play that last game, they're out of here because they can't afford to lose nothing, and they're gonna have to style points. They gotta impress people. They gotta impress people. To G's point, here's what you gotta look at. Texas A&M is winning, right? Texas A&M is crawling up in the polls.
Texas A&M will be ranked in the top 10 or right at 10 when the poll comes out on Tuesday.
And they're on the other side from Alabama. So guess what?
No, they're on the same side.
Are they on the same side?
Yes.
They're on the same side?
They're in the SEC West.
Okay, so look.
The SEC West.
So look, you got Alabama if they end up having to play Georgia in the SEC championship game, right? That's another quality win for Alabama.
So Texas A&M got 2 SEC losses?
Yes, Mississippi State and Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah, they lost to Mississippi State and Arkansas very early when they lost their quarterback. And they haven't lost ever since they got that young freshman settled in.
If it was tied, they had the tiebreaker against Alabama because they beat them.
If Alabama has 2 losses. If Alabama has 2 losses.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, sir.
How Cincinnati wins, right? How Cincinnati wins, or what really is going to help Cincinnati is if Bama loses to Auburn. If Bama loses to Auburn, or then if Bama loses to Georgia, that's going to help Cincinnati a whole lot. That's going to help a whole lot.
If Bama loses the Iron Bowl to Auburn and Texas A&M went out, then Texas A&M go to the SEC championship, right?
To play Georgia, correct.
So then Alabama will be out then for good.
Right. But then this is the question. Then what happens if Texas A&M beats Georgia and they're the SEC champion with a win against Alabama and a win against Georgia? They're in. You could cut it. And trust and believe, Georgia's in. With one loss, Georgia's in.
I think that should be the only way SEC get 2 teams in there.
Bama, Texas A&M, or Georgia could all play their way into the playoff. I really do believe that. All 3 of those teams could play their way in. Just like the the Big Ten, and this is just my opinion, and I'm a diehard Big Ten fan. The Big Ten needs to take a page from the SEC, and I understand the rivalries and the money and all whatever else, but they got to start stretching their schedule out because it's a killer road to make it through the end. Now, if you make it and you're a Big Ten team, you deserve it, man. Listen. If you're Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue, Penn State, if you make it, you deserve to make it.
So the same thing you say about Texas A&M. What if Purdue beat Ohio State and they went out?
Well, Purdue's in the West, so
but Purdue, that's what I'm saying. If they beat Ohio State, they will have beat Iowa #2, Michigan State #3, Ohio State #4.
Yeah, wow. And they have to go to the Big Ten championship and win it. Or they deserve it. They deserve it, man. They did what they were supposed to do.
Okay. I just want to see if you have the same sentiment.
My problem here is that the SEC is going to get the SEC teams will get the nod before anybody else, and that's going to be hard, right? You may have two SEC teams, one of them with more losses than a Cincinnati team, or more losses than an Oregon team, get in just behind the strength of schedule. They're eyeballing and they're passing the eye test, and they got these big signature wins, which Cincinnati doesn't have, which Oregon doesn't have. You know what I mean? Oregon has one statement win, and that's against Ohio State.
But, like how we talking about Cincinnati getting in, the issue is going to be, what if the doomsday scenario goes down? If the doomsday scenario is if Oregon wins out, if either Ohio State or Michigan win out, if Alabama beats Georgia and Oklahoma wins out and Cincinnati wins out, who in the heck did you put in the playoff? You got 7 teams that all deserve to go. You got 7 teams that's right. Everybody either got 1 loss or no losses. That's more than likely to happen. Then I think that the apples fall in the right way for Cincinnati to get into the playoff. I think that you could really see a 1-loss Big Ten champion, an undefeated Oklahoma, and a SEC Alabama popping Georgia, and an undefeated Cincinnati, and a 1-loss Oregon team.
Man, I have no faith in Alabama popping Georgia after watching Alabama probably could have lost 2 or 3 games this year. And I really feel like Oregon's gonna take an L, man. Oregon gonna take an L.
I mean, they got Utah twice, and they got the border war, so we'll see. They got to play Utah. They got to play Washington State. They got to play Utah. Then they got to play the border war, and then they'll probably have to play Utah again in the Pac-12 championship game.
Or BYU.
No, they won't get BYU. They'll play Oregon State, Washington State, Washington State, and the border war.
How will they get BYU in the Pac-12 championship?
BYU is not in the Pac-12. BYU's independent.
No, BYU in the Pac, man.
No,
absolutely
Pac-12. Not. Absolutely not. BYU's not in the Pac-12.
Are they in the Pac-12? Let's check that out.
No, they're independent. They're like Notre Dame.
But
BYU's not in the Pac-12.
Your point, G, to your point, G, here's the deal. I'm just going to say it. If that all happens, Oklahoma snubbed because they're going to take Oregon over Oklahoma.
Okay.
If that happens, that still Georgia, Alabama beating Georgia gets Alabama in. Georgia's still going to go in. Yeah,
correct.
Georgia's still going to go in because they're Georgia. So there's 3 teams right there.
Right. So then it comes down to the 1-loss Big Ten champion, an undefeated Big 12 champion, and an undefeated Cincinnati.
What I'm saying to you, man, the Big Ten champion will go in. So Oklahoma and Cincinnati will both be snubbed.
And that will cause 2022 season to a playoff expansion. You will see in 2020, if that happens in 2022, and I'm calling it on the KnoItAllz shows right now, there will be an 18 playoff in 2022 if that scenario goes down. There will be 18.
I actually believe that there should be an 18 playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way to crown a true champion. I think you should use the bowl games as the playoff system right?
Yeah.
And you use your top 4 bowl games as the playoff system, or 5, and you make like the Rose Bowl to be the actual championship game one year, the Peach Bowl will be the championship game next year, Sugar
What's
Bowl will
up?
be the next one.
You was right. BYU not in the Pac-12.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But they play. Oregon play Washington State at home next week.
Yep.
Then they got Utah on the road.
Yep. Then Oregon State
on the 20th, and they got Oregon State.
Yep.
You guys out there know it all, land. Y'all tell us what y'all think about these college football rankings, because I mean, honestly, we could talk about it all day. You can hear our opinions, but what do you think? Do you guys believe that the SEC should get 2 teams in just because they're the mighty SEC? Should they get 2 teams in over a unbeaten Cincinnati team or a unbeaten Oklahoma team? Y'all tell us. I mean, because at this point, I just look like it's a little. It feels like it's a little slanted.
You know, they would eliminate all that if they put a clause in the stipulation that you gotta be a conference championship winner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, you still would have 5 conferences though, so you know that makes it hard.
Every conference championship winner is not the same, so that's why you can't put every conference championship winner in there. Right.
Oklahoma running the table ain't the same as being undefeated in the Big 12 as a 1-loss Big 10 champ.
Okay, but can you tell me that an ACC undefeated conference champion is the same as the Big 10 or a SEC championship?
This year I can't. But for the past 7 to 8 years, when them Clemson Tigers was handling their business, I could tell you that. So the ACC is just down this year, but traditionally,
but top to bottom, the SEC is 1, the Big 10 is 2. From top to bottom, from the best teams down to the cellar, they play the best football top to bottom in the country.
Agreed.
ACC have a team or 2 every couple years. Clemson dominates. Oh, maybe Virginia Tech have a good year. Maybe North Carolina have a good year. Florida State fell off, but after that, that's pretty much it.
The Big 12 would be 3rd, right? It would be 3rd. It would be the SEC and the Big 10 without a shadow of a doubt. Nobody can argue me that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Big 12 would be 3rd. ACC would be 4th. And I may even say ACC would be, because of the success of Clemson, I would say that they would be 3rd. You know what I mean? Because Clemson has been in the playoffs.
But we saying top to bottom though. So Clemson carries a lot of weight, but they at the top.
They're at the top. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talking about Oklahoma State, Iowa State,
Texas.
Yeah. So I mean Baylor, TCU. I probably would go Big 12.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, at this point, I just think it needs to be you can't settle it by rankings or just what supposings. It needs to be settled on the field. You need to fight to be in the top 8 teams in the nation, and then play off from there on out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. It's all about. I mean, why not? You're doing it in high school,
right?
You're putting up all these. I mean, kids we're starting playoffs this year. I mean, we're starting the playoffs this week, upcoming in the state of Texas. I don't know if y'all are starting down there, but
we're to the regional semifinals.
Yeah, kids have been playing. They finna play 16 football games.
Yeah.
Why not? You can do it. If you can do it on high school, you can do it on college. They playing 17 in the NFL. Come on, man. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's cut the check. And the lower divisions all have playoffs to this time.
Correct.
Division 2 and 3, they have a playoff.
Yeah.
Why not? Because it's money. That I
was just about to say.
It's money. They want that bowl money.
They want all them bowl
prestige money. But like I said, use the bowl games as locations for the playoff. That's it.
Well, they're doing that now. They have 2 sub sites. You know, they do 2 subs and then they play. Somebody gets a double up, you know, when the national championships play, you know. But I'm gonna tell y'all something else that's driving this too. And people might not believe this, but I'm telling you, it's some of this has got to do with Notre Dame too. Notre Dame, man, has to join a conference. They have to get in a conference. They're hurting the ideology of that becoming what it should be. If Notre Dame gets in a conference, then we don't even have this conversation. Notre Dame will never join the Big Ten because of the punishment that they've taken over the years from Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. And Purdue too.
They better do like their basketball team and join the ACC then.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that because they get punished. Notre Dame I'm talking about from like the 90s after Jerome Bettis and them left. Notre Dame is getting punished year in and year out from the Big Ten, no matter who they put on their schedule. Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, they get punished. So Notre Dame won't join the Big Ten.
Sidebar. Since we're having this off conversation, this actually came up, and this is a good one for Tate. Tate, what do you think about Deion leaving Jackson State and going to coach his old alma mater, Florida State? What do you think about that right now? What do you think about that type of energy, seeing Neon Deion back at Florida State as the head coach? Talk to me about
that. That's a thing?
That's a strong possibility.
That's a thing right now.
It's a rumor, speculation right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I thought you were saying it was a thing, like it happened. I hadn't heard that. But nah, man. I mean, I can see why Florida State wants him. I mean, you know what I mean? With far as bringing some of that historic tradition back. Far as, you know, I mean, Deion being able to be the face of the program and recruiting people and stuff, recruiting young athletes, student athletes and stuff. So I can see why Florida State would want to do it. I can see why Deion would want to do it. I would think, but I also would think Deion would come across as hypocritical to be at Jackson State and then turn around and leave that so fast when he been trying to get kids to commit to traditionally HBCUs and stuff like that, and got his son to come play for him and getting other major big time blue chippers to come to that program, and therefore hence after that go to other HBCUs. We've been seeing some of these great, you know, high school football players committing to HBCUs, and if Deion just turned around and left so quick, it would look really self-satisfying. You know what I mean? Self-gratification for him. It would be a bad look.
Yeah.
So, and G, before, because I'm really interested, we talked about this a little bit, and I want to hear your opinion here for the listeners, for the know-it-all listeners. To me, man, you got to understand, take this into consideration. Deion had to turn away 100 kids at Jackson State.
Correct.
Right? And you know, those kids wanted to come, and they would, you know, to play for a D1 program and to play for Deion. So I think what he's doing for the culture of the HBCUs is great. But here's where I'm going to leave it to Big G. Talk to me about Deion at Florida State, what that would do for college football as a whole.
Well, first of all, let me say this. College football suffers when Florida State, Florida, USC, Notre Dame, and Texas aren't any good. It just takes away from the quality of college
Miami.
The Hurricanes, I agree. The Hurricanes as well, right? So Deion coming back to Florida State would change the culture of the Florida region. You know, Deion, really, to be honest, at Florida State could be the modern day Jimmy Johnson. Like when Jimmy Johnson went to Miami and Dade County and Southern Florida, and he locked it where could nobody recruit the top guys out of there. You couldn't be like an Ohio State and come to Florida and steal a top guy. You couldn't be an Alabama and come to Florida and steal a top guy. If Deion was to come to Florida State and start that, there would be, listen what I'm telling you, they would win a national championship within 3 to 5 years because he would get the best players out of that region, which produces probably more players than any place else outside of Texas and or California. However, I agree totally with Tate when he says, hey, man, you know, that would be bad look as far as the culture is concerned because Deion's been preaching HBCU forever. So, but as far as like his expansion and his ability to get more kids ready to go to the NFL and start up a program? Because if Florida State, if they turn it up and they get back to what they was, now they got an instant rival with Clemson. It's not going to be too much longer after that. Miami's going to come. So they're going to have to make a huge hire to get somebody in there to make that rivalry jump back up. So I think it's just, cycling seasons,
Hey, I'm about to do my best impression of Big G. Here's a burner. If Deion goes back to Florida State, he becomes the Alabama coach all over again. He turns college football on his head. That's why you see him and Nick Saban in the same commercial. He becomes Nick Saban at that point. I believe that not only that second year he wins the national championship, I think he runs off about 2 or 3 of them. Because think about this.
It's hard to win 2-3 national championships.
Let me show you
That's
why.
Hard. It's hard to do that.
Big G burner. I got to tell you, it sounds far-fetched. It sounds far-fetched.
I'm not saying nobody running off with 2-3 national championships. That's hard to do.
Let me tell you why. Deion is the only person who could shut the doors on the state of Florida and take half of the state of Texas with him. He's the only person. Half of the state of Texas will go play for Deion, and then every athlete in Florida want to play.
Well, you speaking from just basically a recruiting standpoint. You still gotta have the X's and O's, man. And Deion ain't proved that yet on the big level, man.
Correct.
He might be number 1 in recruiting every year, but that still don't mean you win a national championship.
That's hard to do.
Let alone 2 or 3.
All you got to do is hire the right OC and DC, and you good. You just go back here and manage these kids just like Saban does. You think Saban's over here the X and O dude? Heck no. He's managing these kids.
Man, I think Saban is a proven X and O guy. I think he hires some offensive guys, but come on, man. Saban got a long history in the NFL, defensive coordinator, so LSU, Alabama.
Listen to this.
In Miami, he was an X and O guy. Is that what you're telling me?
No, check this out. Nick Saban coaches the defensive backs at Alabama.
So you mean to tell me at Miami,
the defensive backs.
Hold on. You mean to tell me at Miami Dolphins, his X's and O's was working?
At Miami, he was what Urban Meyer is right now. He was a great college coach that went to the pros that didn't understand how to deal with the professional athlete.
Right.
But Nick Saban knows that. Nick Saban and Bill Belichick probably the best X's and O's guys in football, period.
History. Yeah, outside of Bill Walsh. I would put Bill Walsh.
And back to Deion. If Deion leaves the HBCU to go to a PWI, and he's just being a hypocrite, and everything he said for the past 2 years is not legit.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even call him. So Tate, I hear what you're saying. And he did promise to build the HBCUs up and bring all of the players that he's bringing into the HBCU and get looks. But I mean, can you blame him? I think I honestly, from everything that I've been reading and hearing, I think he thought this Florida State opportunity would come a couple years later. But I don't think he can afford to look it in the face and say no. I mean,
you right for Deion. Deion is about Deion. You're right. Yeah. But if he's about them kids whose houses he went to and said, "Come to Jackson State, we're gonna build some," he's a hypocrite.
Right. He would at least have to stay at Jackson State for 4 years to get one class all the way through. I think at that point, I don't think any of us would be mad or upset if he left Jackson State after doing.
Would not begrudging one bit if he saw his first recruiting class through. Yeah. If they won a small school national championship or he did whatever he did. I mean, he already got the exposure now.
Right.
He got commercials. He got kids coming there. He can turn the program around. You know what I mean? So, I mean, but if Deion just worried about Deion doing Deion, he going to go take the Florida State job.
Yeah.
We probably should have did that from the go. They probably should hire him anyway. Didn't they hire the coach from Memphis, didn't they? That's what they hired. I forgot his name.
And he's quick. Trust and believe he's on it. He's up out of there. him and Ed O and a couple of other coaches that they done at the end of the season. It's all.
Oh no, I definitely agree with some of your college hot takes, but you got pro coaches going too quick. But I agree with some of your college hot takes, coaches getting fired.
I mean,
you talking about Flores? Flores up out of there, but go ahead, keep going.
Flores ain't out of there, man.
Okay, we'll see. Keep going.
Hey man, Ed O is out of there because he couldn't help himself. He won the national championship and couldn't help himself and got divorced. And he just couldn't help himself. You know what I mean?
Ed O 65 and like little young hot pieces, and you can't be mad at Ed O, man. He was just doing too much, putting it all out there, bringing him to practice and all kind of having in the locker room and stuff.
Practice, bro.
Yeah, he doing
letting the kids practice with the. Come on, dog.
Hey,
he got some of his little side chicks bringing their kids to the practice and letting them practice with the football team.
Correct. That's what
with the SEC defending national championship college football team. Come on, Ed O, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of coaches that's gonna bite the bullet at the end of the season. A lot of them college coaches, but Ed O shot himself in the foot. When you win a college national championship, you buy yourself anywhere between 4 and 6 seasons. So if you get dismissed anytime before after you win a college national championship between 4 and 6 seasons, you shot yourself in the foot.
But Sean, did he really shoot himself in the foot?
Of course. He won the national championship in 2019.
Yeah, but that buyout he got.
Bro, if Ed O wouldn't have done what he did, Ed O would be the coach of LSU next year. They've already built the narrative. If you watch the Alabama LSU game, they were talking about the massive amount of injuries he had, this, that, and this. He hasn't been able to recruit guys to replace like Jamar Chase, and he hadn't. So they were going to give him a chance. If you win a championship, that buys you 4 to 6 seasons.
Two questions, Ma. You can answer too. What? It's either one of y'all. Is Jim Harbaugh gone?
No. If they have a valid replacement, if they have somebody who's a valid, first of all, let me say this: Jim Harbaugh still got to play Ohio State and Penn State. So depending on what happens in those 2 games, and if they have a guy behind him, like maybe that guy that's the offensive coordinator over in the Carolina Panthers, and that wants that Michigan job, he's up out of here.
Joe Brady.
Yeah, Joe Brady. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to tell you, no. I had to answer that question. What's the second question?
Who goes to LSU?
Man, that's
Penn State coach James Franklin. James Franklin out of Penn State is going to go to LSU.
Why would they do that? James Franklin is a good coach. I think he won 1 Big Ten championship.
Right. He's a culture builder.
But what are you going to do in the SEC?
He's a culture builder. You think about what they're compiling in the SEC. They're building name coaches to win. That's the whole reason why Jimbo is doing what he do. Jimbo Fisher just signed the #1 recruit in next year's class, the number 105 recruit in next year's class, and the number 117 in next year's class off of Saturday's win. So he builds a culture and a face of the program. If you need a guy who's a proven college coach that's a winner to come and solidify a program that's going to run up against a Saban at Alabama, you got to have a face of a program. There's no cleaner face than James Franklin right now. He's not a super great coach, but he's good enough to where he can go and make LSU a winner and a contender. That's just my take. James Franklin.
Would you rather have James Franklin than Sark in Texas?
No. I got to give Sark. I have to give Sark at least 2 years. I got to give him 2 years. I got to give him 2 to 3 years in order to see what he's going to do. In my mind, he needs that. He deserves that. These are still all Tom Herman's kids. And, we'll see. I mean, he got the #1 recruited quarterback coming next year from California. And then we got some linebackers coming in. So, hey, who knows? I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to – I would give him that time. James Franklin's an excellent coach. Would I think he'd make it in that LSU culture? Absolutely. I think he'll make it in the LSU culture, and I think that he'd be very successful. Last but not least, man, before we, get off of our podcast, man, I definitely want to talk about this. There was a couple of great movies that came out here recently. One of them being The Harder They Fall. It's a movie, definitely Sean Carter, who we know as Jay-Z. They were behind the production of it all, the money of it all. Soundtrack's phenomenal. You got songs by Lauryn Hill, who you ain't heard from in years. She was just on this new Nas project. That's the first time that we heard from Lauryn Hill in a long time. And, she has a song on this one. But the story is about actual cowboys that existed in the Wild West. Actual black cowboys who existed in the Wild West. Now, it's not a biopic. It's not a picture telling their stories. It's much like 300. It's much like Braveheart with telling William Wallace's story. A lot of this stuff was embellished, and they put it together. But it was a really, really great movie. I have to say this, and then I'm gonna let Tate chime in, and I'm gonna definitely let G put his 2 cents in. Listen, anybody who's out there bugging about the fact that it's not historically correct, come on, man. You weren't saying it, like I said, you weren't saying that when you watched 300 and talking about Maximus Aurelius. You weren't saying that when you were watching Gladiator and you were talking about Maximus Aurelius, and you weren't saying that about 300 when you were talking about the Spartans, and that the Spartans actually existed, and that war that they fought actually existed. It didn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that we're at this apex when we're bringing light to somebody and a group of people that most people don't even know that exist? Most people don't even know that there were African-American cowboys in the West. And for them to tell their story, and for the actors that they had, Delroy Lindo, man, Regina King, they gave shout outs and homage to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It was really good, man. You have my guy Idris Elba in it. Come on, man. I don't see what there is to fuss about. What you guys think, man? Talk to me, Tate.
Man, I agree with you. I mean, I thought it. I mean, I didn't know if it was or wasn't true, based in truth. I mean, I don't think until I talked to y'all that I even knew that those was real people. The characters was real people. I mean, but I still thought it was a good movie. It's good to sit back and watch a black Western where, I felt like it was positively written. I mean, stuff went on back in the Wild Wild West. So you had some shooting and some killing, but that's to be expected in a Wild Wild Western movie. You know what I mean? I mean, I thought they had an outstanding cast. Thought the soundtrack was excellent. I love how the music played into the movie. I mean, I felt like it was just a really good piece of theater. I really did.
Yeah, me too. And talk to me, G.
Well, first of all, is Malcolm X a historically correct movie? Was Ali an historically correct?
You know what, G, saying that made me think about and I love the show, The Godfather of Harlem.
Correct.
Godfather of Harlem. That's one
correct.
of them. Yeah,
Correct.
it wasn't historically correct.
What's love got to do with it about Tina Turner? Was that historically correct? Well, I mean, I could run it down. Was Ray historically correct? They always embellish, add to, and take away from a story to drive the narrative, right? And that's where I don't understand why our culture has such a hard problem with embellishing the story. If you if you read Malcolm X biography and you watch the movie Malcolm X, you're gonna be mad because they don't match. If you read the autobiography about Ray Charles and you watch the movie about Ray, it don't match. But it was a great movie, right? So
I think right now with what you saying and what we kind of talked about, we kind of limited ourselves to black biographies, you know what I mean? But it goes across the board though.
Correct. Correct.
You know what I mean?
I didn't
Ma
limit
brought
myself.
in- No, you didn't. You didn't. I'm like,
Braveheart.
you brought in William Wallace.
Braveheart with William Wallace. Yeah, that
They
wasn't
added to it.
historically correct. They
They
added
added
to
to
it.
it. Yeah.
And for you to act as if these characters or the movies are supposed to be, historically correct to where there's no story. I mean, what's the use in putting them on the screen? Like I said, the tape proved my point earlier. He said he didn't know that these were real characters. He saw it flash on the screen that these people actually existed. He said he saw that, right? So the fact that he saw that and then he was like, oh, these are real characters. Most people didn't know these people exist. And y'all are beefing over Stagecoach Mary being, and literally Stagecoach Mary, she was a different breed. She wasn't the same person that you saw on screen. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. But guess what? You were entertained by it. You liked the movie. We got a chance to see a Black Western, which we have not seen with an all-black cast since Posse.
Can I say this, bro? Can I say this?
The listeners think? Any listeners think anything?
No listeners have said anything. Not about this subject at all.
Let me say this. Let me say this, man. And I'm just going to be honest. Historically, sometimes there's a lot of laziness that goes on with you understanding what your culture is versus you reading and doing investigation. What has happened, even Google now makes you more lazy. So before you become critical about a subject or scenario, go do your history. Go to the library, go read up on it, go find out what really happened with stuff, and then be critical, right? But a lot of times people jump on that bandwagon about chopping people down, and you don't even know what the heck even happened. You have no clue what happened because you didn't do your homework, you didn't do your history. So, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, so Tawana, she said, I knew some of them were real people, but the movie was still thoroughly entertaining. Yeah, I mean, it was a movie. It's a motion picture. They made it so that it would be watched and people would watch it. So of course they embellished a little bit. And they didn't say it was a biopic. They didn't say it like the NWA or the Tupac or even the Biggie. They weren't doing it like that. What
they embellished on those. They embellished on those movies. That wasn't pinpoint accurate about Tupac and Biggie, and
the
that
gist
stuff
of the
wasn't
matter
100% accurate.
They're mad because they're saying like Bill Pickett's family is saying, oh, my great grandfather wasn't no bumbling fool or bumbling idiot. Man, that banter between Bill Pickett. But the funny thing is the banter between the two characters was hilarious. It added to the movie. It was hilarious. I'm fast with the blam bam. Why are you gonna sit up in here? You know what I'm saying? They're going back and forth.
So listen to this. Like from a historical standpoint, all of us got great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, right? We don't know who those people were. How we got a purview or inside look of who they were by the stories that got carried down from one generation to the next, right? So I'm quite sure, and you got to remember, even in our own personal stuff from our great-great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents, they build the story up a little bit more than what it is by the time it gets to you. It might have went down this way, but by the time it gets to you, it's a little bit bigger. And that's just part of natural history, not just of Black culture, but in all cultures. Great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy wasn't always a saint. They had their moments.
Man, don't even get me started on that. Grandmama has some deep, dark secrets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it is what it is. But the gist of the matter is all I'm saying about this, you guys, is that Twitter's going crazy. There was some guys on Instagram and then they were on TikTok, just taking up the banner like, oh, this movie was just not historically correct. It just wasn't right. And, I'm like, man, for real, like
those are people that don't have nothing else to do but to be
celebrate the movie. Why are we all nitpicking? Celebrate the movie. It was very entertaining. And hats off. I don't agree with everything Jay-Z be doing all the time. But man, hats off, bro. Thank you for creating this type of movie. Just like, I'm sure people are going to have something to say about Venus and Serena's new movie with Will Smith. I mean, shoot, they were right there as consultants on the movie. But come on, man. I mean, it's time out for this whole thing. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy to criticize this movie, but because you think it wasn't historically correct. Of course, they didn't know each other. But get this, most people didn't even know that these people existed in the Wild West. And I'm glad that now people are Googling their names. People are going to go see it. And they gave a shout out to Chadwick Boseman, which was awesome. And that was on the train. That train part, when they walked by the train, it said C.A. Boseman. That was for Chadwick Boseman, right?
Ooh,
and I appreciated that. Huh?
I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciated that look. That was great. And that's honoring another one of your fallen comrades, who probably would have been in the movie had he been alive. You know what I mean? So honestly, it was really good. I appreciated it, but I had to say my 2 cents, man. Look, stop it. Please stop it. Stop it.
You like what Jay-Z got coming to the Super Bowl for entertainment?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. I don't know, man. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. Him taking over Rock Nation and doing this Super Bowl thing, I think is good for some people. I think it may be bad for others. We'll see. We'll definitely see.
So I'm just asking for clarity. He's the reason why Dre and Snoop's all them gonna be on there?
Yeah, he picked in entertainment last year or this year.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah. And if we have any Facebook comments, if you guys are commenting out there on Facebook, do me a favor, make sure that you go to the YouTube channel and comment as well. The Facebook comments are not populating and we won't see them. So make sure you comment on YouTube so that way we can definitely share your comment on live. But as we're getting ready to get out of here, man, do you guys have any parting shots?
I just want to say, man, Big G talked about our previous generations and stuff, man, and I knew his, 2 generations removed, his grandfather, Leonard McGree, great man.
Yeah.
What bigger man than you, Big G. That generation was better than you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm messing with you, man, but nah, he was, though.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Great. I always will give homage to the people that I'm standing on the shoulders of.
No
without
doubt.
a shadow of a doubt. I could never be my grandfather. Never. He was a great man. I could never be him. Never,
and you know what? Somebody giving that's good, Tate, which another thing proves my point. Somebody giving homage to your people just because they got an opportunity to witness them or see them in a movie and they go back and they study and find out who they were. Man, that's the ultimate sign of respect.
Right.
What are we fussing about?
Right.
What are we fussing about? Big G, you got a parting shot, man?
Yeah, man. It's a burner. So just bear with me for about 30 seconds to a minute, man.
Uh-oh.
Man, we didn't get a chance to talk about that man, CJ Stroud, man. You see, I'm rocked out in the Buckeye gear today. You see, I got all the national champions and the national champion hats on there. My burner is, man, Stroud can't get the chip for us, dog. He's a marginal quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman. Yes, my expectations are real high. Yes, do I think he has an opportunity to improve? But as of right now, today, Stroud can't get it for us. He has to start running the ball. And if he doesn't want to run the ball, we are in trouble because it's not just a pattern anymore. I mean, just a one-time game thing. We have developed a pattern. We can't get in the red zone and score because he won't pull the ball down and run with the ball. So, Mr. Stroud, Ohio State Buckeyes, Buckeye Nation, coaching staff, coach the young man up to pull the ball and run on an RPO, or guess what? We're not going to make the playoff.
Wow. That is a heck of a parting shot. And, I got to borrow a page out your book, and this is my parting shot. UT, Texas Longhorns, at this point, you suck. I am upset with the fact that you chose the moniker All Gas, No Brakes. but all I see is you hitting the brakes. You pull a young man from a game because the offensive line can't block. Well, let's talk about this, man. Sark, I gave you credit. I said, hey, look here. You deserve your 2-3 years to prove that you could do what you said you could do. But at this point, the loss of Denzel Okafor, the only true great offensive lineman you had, is showing and exposing us, and you're not recruiting any offensive and defensive linemen. Second piece about this whole thing, while I'm leaving, I know some of y'all are going to see it, and I'm going to catch flack for it, but hey, if all you're going to recruit is from Lake Travis and from Westlake, and you're going to leave the Maynards and the Del Valleys and the LBJs alone, well, you're setting yourself up to lose again. Man, listen, if we're going to win in Texas football, you definitely need to be in that golden triangle. You definitely need to win in DFW. And that's all I got to say about that, like Forrest Gump did bubble. Mal. Tate, did you have anything else?
Yeah, man. Y'all both took some sports parting shots, man. I was shouting out to OG Leonard McGee, but my sports parting shot, man, is, man, what's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers, man? LeBron hurt. You got Carmelo out there, and AD got a stomach ache, so he go out the game. You got Russ Westbrook just running wild. I don't know what's going on in LA, man, but they not looking good. And so this is to Anthony Davis. AD, if you want to win, you got to play center, bro. Stop wasting minutes with Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan and those guys. They are not factors. AD got to play the 5. LeBron got to play the 4. You can have Russ in there with Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, whoever you want to have in there with him. But it all starts with AD accepting he has to play big and play the 5.
Definitely. And listen, that's your boys, man. We out. Another KnoItAllz podcast. Check us here, man. Definitely, if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you like and subscribe. The Facebook page, make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. We're definitely doing this for you and yours. For myself, for Tate, and man, Big G, we out of here, man. Peace.